The release of Battlefield 2042 is just around the corner, and although many fans are excited for the game, there are a few things DICE and EA should have learned from Battlefield 5. Not only did it have a tragic release, but it seemed like a game that DICE just gave up on shortly thereafter. Here are 5 lessons DICE should have learned from Battlefield 5 to ensure 2042 avoids that same fate. Number 1. Content. Upon the release of Battlefield 5, DICE had a planned release schedule for DLCs, but the company never stuck to their promises. The first, quote, DLC was dropped about a month after the game released, but only included a few weapons and one map, Panzerstorm. It was another 3 months later that we got our first real content drop, which included 2 maps, Halvoy and Mercury, a handful of weapons, and several elite skins. While that's more than the last DLC, it is quite a bit less with longer durations between releases than previous Battlefield titles. Ultimately, many Battlefield players were left frustrated by the lack of content and untrusting of DICE. On top of the lack of DLC, features that had been hyped up by the company itself never even made it into the game. Things like a 5v5 competitive mode, the ability to drag down teammates, and around a dozen weapons. 2. Assignments. First and foremost, the assignment system in Battlefield 5 is way too intricate, and completion of the assignments most of the time offered next to nothing. They also often require players to perform strange, aimless tasks that detracted from the game rather than enhance the experience. 3. Anti-cheat. Anybody who has played Battlefield 5 recently knows how bad the cheaters are in the game. Of course, cheaters and hackers are in most, if not all, other games. But when it comes to Battlefield 5, it's like DICE and EA don't even care. They are so prominent in Battlefield 5, you will encounter a cheater in almost every match you play, and oftentimes nothing ever happens to them, whether they're reported or not. There have been several times where I encountered cheaters who are ranked over 100. Not only should DICE implement a better anti-cheat, they should also make it easier for players to report others. As it stands with Battlefield 5, reporting players is obscure and takes 5 or 6 clicks to do so, resulting in many players that simply don't know how to report somebody. For 2042, let's hope DICE attempt to address this issue by making reporting easier and using a better anti-cheat system. 4. Balance. DICE changed the TTK in Battlefield 5 2 or 3 times, believing it was the main factor for new player retention. I think they failed to realize that the TTK was never the issue. Server balancing was and still is. How many times have you joined a server where one team was full of high-level players and the other team full of low-level players? If I had to guess, I'd say it was somewhere between 60 and 80% of all games. I believe this imbalance is a driving force for both new and veteran players quitting matches, and combined with the epidemic of cheaters, these players are ultimately quitting the game for good. 5. Support. As I've stated before, Battlefield 5 seemed like a game that DICE abandoned almost from the start. Even when they would patch one bug, 3 more would pop up. DICE ended support for Battlefield 5 just a year and a half after release, which was a lot quicker than previous Battlefield titles. With the support ending so soon, many Battlefield fans were left feeling betrayed with a game riddled with bugs and cheaters. Honestly, there is a simple solution to most of this list: community test environment. It has been tried and proven with previous Battlefield titles, yet for some reason it was never used with Battlefield 5. Why? I don't know. But let's hope DICE can learn from the tragedy of Battlefield 5 and use that info to make Battlefield 2042 the best game it can be. So what do you guys think? Will DICE learn from the past, or are they doomed to repeat it? Let me know in the comments. I also stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays over on Twitch. Stop by and let's chat about it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And until next time, keep gaming.